You got to do the... well, no.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
We're still at the thirsty bed. No, just do that.
Wait. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
That's weird. James is my name too.
Indeed. But listen, this is for the audio. Now, James, normally Tuesday would be a people's poll, but being that we're at Planet FPL Live 4 and we're being efficient with our time, or lazy as some would call it,
so lucky
to not record tomorrow, we're going to shoot a Q&A now with a handful of people that are left after we've been able to watch Forest, Villa, Luton, Liverpool. Nobody scored any FPL points. We've drowned our sorrows with the main podcast. Now we're going to shoot a little Q&A.
Yeah,
We've got a few people that are ready and lined up with questions. The question is, are you ready?
Yeah, just for benefit of those watching this or listening to this on Tuesday, obviously this is Sunday night, yeah, so...
No Tottenham,
we
Chelsea.
might not be unbeaten, I don't know.
And for everybody that's here, thank you so much for jumping up with your questions. If you do us a favour, when you come up to the microphone that Clates has got there, just give us your name and shout out your handle, because we may as well self-promote and get followers or whatever else you want to, if there's anything you want to plug.
Clayton, are you actually going to do anything?
Yeah, he's been all right. Leave him. So, we have a question. Come on, Delia. Delia, go on, tell us.
Hello. My name is Delia, and I just had a question for James mostly.
Okay,
fuck you, blood.
Tomorrow,
I got the volume on my
God
phone.
forbid, Spurs win again, do you think you actually have a chance to decide?
Could you? That's a question after all it. Could you?
I'll tell
Could you, Ricky?
I'll tell you the problem in 2 words with that. Thank you. Yeah. In 2 words, Manchester City. It's just simple as that. So, could we? I heard you, babe. Could we finish above Arsenal? Yes. Do I? Hold on. Stop biting. I know you've had a tough weekend, babe. Do I think we will? No. Could we? Yes. Do I think we'll finish above Liverpool? No. Could we? Yes. But to finish above both and Manchester City, with the standards they set, I think it's extremely unlikely. If we were to keep winning, we will put ourselves in a position similar to what Arsenal did last year, where you will begin to look at it and go, they're finishing top 4. And I think, hypothetically, if we have beaten Chelsea, beat Wolves, beat Villa, then it's City. Now, if you go there and win, then there's a conversation to be had.
So 4 games and we will know.
But we won't win all those 4 games. When you look at Tottenham's fixtures now, they begin to get tough. So let's see. What we've done really well so far is we've been brilliantly consistent, right? We drew at Brentford opening day. Since then, we won every game by 1. So we've played a lot of average teams, in truth, but you've still got to beat them all, and we've done it. The only other game we haven't won was against Arsenal, and I think merited the draw. And that feels like still the only game really to judge Tottenham on. But then when I judge Tottenham on that, I think, this has been a great start because they're a very good team.
Cool. Next question. Rory, got the mic. Let me turn you up. Go for it.
Cool. Between now and Christmas, which team, taking into account finances, which team will have the highest defensive returns?
Taking out the finances.
Literally, that's
fishing. Is
that's
that what we
our
call
Palace
fishing?
Correspondent, Rory.
Yeah,
if you didn't know, he is definitely looking for a safe
Taking
Palace.
out value. Who's going to have the most defensive returns? You do your Skittles spreadsheet where you kind of put fixture difficulty rating in, and you
I think it'll be one of the 2 teams I said earlier, Arsenal or Newcastle.
Yeah. I think Newcastle, they're getting stingy. The only thing with them is obviously still adapting to the Champions League.
I would be surprised, Rory, if we got to Christmas and Palace still had most clean sheets in the league, for example. Not because I think Palace will have a dip off. I just think someone else will probably increase their run. I think that will be Arsenal most likely, then maybe Newcastle.
Maybe Liverpool as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
that's also
true. He's saying good teams will rotate.
Yeah. Cool. We're ready. Next question. This time, give us your name, shout out your handle, or whatever else you want to sell on the internet.
Yeah. It's Chris Church, FPL Church on Twitter. First part is this live show has been fantastic. So thanks very much for doing it,
man. Yeah.
Secondly, what are your thoughts?
He wants brownie points.
What's your thoughts on the released VAR comments from the Arsenal-Newcastle game from last night?
Oh, I haven't.
Tell us what are they? You got them there.
Oh, I've got them here.
When did they release them? Just now?
No, it was last night.
Please tell me this is a wind-up funny, and please tell me.
So the first one on Bruno Guimaraes. Bruno Guimaraes' elbow. He's not used his arm as a weapon. It's not nice, but no more than he had a card.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I'd say what I would say on that is on the Guimaraes. I think if he's sent off, nobody complains about that.
no.
Nobody complains about
So
that.
there's 4 comments, right? That's the first one. Second one, on the Newcastle goal, the ball looks like it's out, but we can't possibly give it from that angle.
Find
Third
another
one.
angle, but yeah, right. Yeah. You're gonna get well upset, aren't you? You're an
Third
Arsenal
one.
fan. That's understandable.
On the push on Gabriel, there's 2 hands on Gabriel's back, but we can't be sure it's a push.
Can I be honest?
Stroking.
Can I be honest?
Everybody stroke each other's there. Oh.
I actually think that's sensational.
And the last one,
Creative writing.
last one on Gordon being offside, there's no conclusive evidence whether Gordon is behind the ball, so stick with the on-field decision.
Yeah, that's
But that's
right.
that's what
right.
a picture is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is that the question?
So what were the thoughts on the comments?
I think as
The
covered,
elbow one's nonsense, and the foul 2 hands on the back is nonsense. The other two,
I also
can
think,
find
to
out.
be honest, in the same way, if Havertz had been sent off, they wouldn't have overturned that either.
Yeah, I don't think we'd complain either. He lunged in, man.
So it's a lunge with height. Where he ends up catching him is low, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
Guimaraes,
Do you
to be
think they
honest,
should
when I
still-
saw it, I thought, oh, he's off.
Do you
was
think
my reaction.
The thing is, after obviously the situation with the Liverpool goal, and they released the audio and stuff, we're kind of peeling off the layers of the onion, where now the expectation is that they will put out a statement and they will tell us what was said, and soon they will release the audio. Do you think they should carry on just releasing as much audio as they can from what's happened in the decision-making conversation?
And I think eventually it should get to the point
It's
where
not helping though. It's making it worse because we're realising how fucking stupid they are.
Well, to be honest, it would be. I mean, have they released the Wolves Newcastle one, and then the Wolves Sheffield United one? It'd be interesting to hear what that is, because most of us who watch and know football would go, okay, yeah, there's contact. It ain't a penalty. Neither of them, right? So what are you saying? Is your conversation, well, he's given a penalty and, oh, well, yeah, there's contact between the 2 players. It's a contact sport. Bloody hell, imagine if you isolated everything in that way and went, yeah, that's a foul, that's a foul. No one wants that. So it's like, the problem is, this is my thing, they take everything by law. So, which is understandable, they have to abide by the laws, right? But therefore their threshold, Suj, is, they go, right, so it's a high threshold, so we have to apply a high threshold to law. So it's, oh, okay, Cher dives into Cunha, but, oh, yeah, well, there's contact between the legs. We'll give it. It's not right.
That's stupid.
So I want common sense. One of the things I've been saying is get someone in the room who's not a referee, who obviously doesn't make the final decision, but just sits there and says to them, like, are you okay with your common sense decision here? Sense check them. Rather than just on rules, just say, look, referee it like a human being rather than a robot, and actually just remove yourself and say, do you think that's a penalty?
That's a great job title, common sense officer.
Yeah, common sense officer.
The PGMO.
The CSO of VAR, yeah.
Right, let's move it on. Next question. We have, introduce yourself. Are you first time FPL player?
Hello.
First season of the game?
My name's Tom.
Yeah.
Guys.
My name's Tom. You can find me on Twitter at Nico_Semedo.
Nico
or at
underscore
Clates
Semedo.
AFC.
Okay.
Who got the assist something? So there's always one player who shows up during Christmas or around sort of the turn of the year, out of nowhere, that isn't in thoughts now. Who would that player be? Can you both nominate one player?
Define that Christmas. What are we saying? December and January?
Yeah. Some player who's not in the template now, who shows up out of nowhere. Go on.
I'd have to have a think about it. You want a really left field pick, don't you, Tom?
I've got one in mind straight away, actually.
Go on then.
I'll go for Brennan Johnson.
Do you know the biasy? I would have just tucked out like Kudus or something. You picked a Spurs player, I picked a West Ham player. Let's just not pick our own teams. I think there's biasy involved in that. I quite fancy Eze. Oh, do you know what? Because I almost think I want him to do well. I want him to break out and do well and have a good run.
Foden. I mean, Foden's not part of that now, right? So, I think Foden is a reasonable shout, considering it will come into obviously that if the City double happens with Brentford. So, maybe that. Maybe it might be Doku even.
Yeah, Doku would be a decent shout. I don't think you can count Darwin as.
Eze's a very good, reasonable
I think
call as well.
and I would want him to as well. And he's a good price at 6.1.
Awen Yee.
2 hit and miss, and he's the kind of player. If I had him in my FPL squad, Awen Yee, I would just play him in the home games and bench him in the away games. So I don't even feel like he'd be a player that would be week in, week out.
Would arguably say Solanke.
I don't know if
more,
I want him.
Actually, maybe.
Solanke.
Maybe.
I like Dominic Solanke as well. And yeah, maybe I know we talk about Everton's fixtures being permanently
DCL, yeah, sure.
But DCL, maybe I've got recency bias for how well he played against us, but he's done all right again yesterday. I think DCL might be another one.
Do you remember that year a few years ago, the person on football when Tom asked the question was Danny Ings, who had that period for Southampton, and I remember they beat us New Year's Day, and I was already sick of Mourinho about 6 weeks in, and I was like, I've got to get him. It was one of the few times I've ever watched a player, I can't take this anymore. But scoring every week, and it was the whole narrative where he's made of glass, he'll get injured at some point, he's wasting the transfer. Guy was literally scoring every single week.
Yeah.
So that's who I think of with that question, actually.
Yeah.
Danny Ings was scoring goals. Yeah. Rory, put
this
the beer down.
This is the Crystal Palace Appreciation Society over there. Go on, next question. Let's chuck in.
I don't do Twitter, but on the FPL community, I am JC on Slack. Nice. First, just to thank you. It's my first time coming to an FPL meet, so appreciate that.
Oh, by the way,
how welcome it's been.
Welcome, my friend. By the way, JC thinks he's getting a cab back with us tonight.
Oh, fair play.
You're playing, aren't you, James? You said no.
He is.
I'm going to Amsterdam with Sam after this. Where is he?
He's gone without you, mate.
2 days early. Go on.
Question is, if Mo Salah leaves in the summer, which I think he will, should Liverpool look at Jarrod Bowen? And if so, what is the reasonable price for him at the moment, considering he's just signed a new contract?
And just to remind you, when he signed the contract, which is like 7 years, he was there with the old, I'm going to finish my career at this club. West Ham have good to me, so I'm never leaving bullshit as well. So it'll cost you enough because of all of that's come with it. I don't think he'll leave, and I don't think Liverpool will go for him. The thing I've been most impressed with him this season over previous seasons is the physicality of his hold-up play. Like, for a little guy who gets clattered a lot, he's still quite strong and good at holding the ball up and trying to create and start counter-attacks. I don't know if Liverpool would look at him. What do you think? He's definitely a similar star mould, right?
I think because of
a left footer playing on the right, likes to cut in, likes to get in behind, can finish. He's a similar style player, but I think Liverpool go bigger.
Yeah, the problem is you're paying for a premium for that. So
British player.
If they find an equivalent like a Luis Diaz, for example, as an example, some of you will have known him, but a lot of us wouldn't have, right? And you're probably paying half the price than if you'd have got, say, to Bowen now, right? So I imagine Liverpool don't like to overpay generally, will probably be quite streetwise about their thinking. With the new contract for Bowen, probably means it's probably not likely to happen. If
70 million?
Liverpool
75 million?
More now.
You think so? I would have said 70, 75.
With the new contract, there's no reason for West Ham to sell. So you're talking
Plus,
about 40
if he carries
million
on the
less
current
than
run,
Rice, right? So
okay, maybe 80 million. It's not worth 80 million.
Who knows? Maybe Danny doesn't
His
fancy Merseyside.
father-in-law said to him, "You leave West Ham, I'm gonna mess you up." Nah, I wouldn't sell him now for 75 because it's not my money. I don't get it.
You wouldn't.
I don't know what we'd do to replace him.
You wouldn't accept 75 because he'll get more.
Yeah, I don't think
Reality
so.
would be my point.
But all I would do with that guy is just play him as a striker.
James, what do you think? Value the player, James.
I don't think you probably with the what is he 5 years contract now?
7 years.
7 years.
Bro, he said he's finishing his career.
To be honest with you,
It takes him to 32.
It's madness, but his proven goal scorer in the Premier League is north of 80, definitely. I think. Yeah, but it's difficult with Bowen to say, if he does well for England. The chances I won't do well for England because we've got too many people in the way. Yeah. But it doesn't mean also that he's not worth that money because most other international teams he would get into. Genuinely, if Jarrod Bowen was Spanish, would he get in the team? Like, maybe he would. I'm not saying he would, but maybe he would. Yeah.
Ricky, introduce yourself and then ask us your question. Go on, son. This better not be Tottenham related.
Obviously.
Well, Ricky Saunders 77 on Twitter, Planet FPL, Tottenham correspondent. Easiest job in all of creation because James knows more than I do about the club. So I just turn up and agree with what he says.
It's right, you supported them longer, just take that.
Well, only because I'm older.
Yeah. Seniority. Go on.
If you will indulge me, I've actually got two quick questions.
Okay. Go on, pal. They said they're quick.
One is Tottenham-centric.
Okay,
so, James, can we, and if we can, what do we need to do in January to ensure that we can? and a miracle is an acceptable answer.
Daniel Levy spending money is a miracle.
I'll be honest, the biggest thing in seriousness is no injuries. More than buying anyone, honestly.
I'm thinking more transfer-wise. What do we need to do to strengthen that squad in January?
The number one thing for me would be the player you might have heard me mention recently. We wouldn't get is Mitoma, but that ilk of player, a 1v1 direct dribbler on the left wing would be a game changer for us. You're not going to get that player, but something of that ilk where it can be found in Europe for half the price or cheaper will make a big difference. So I think left wing that, but we need a centre-back because the two are outstanding, but we're playing a kid or Eric Dyer if either of them get injured. Bentancur's going to be a big addition to bring back into the squad. But I think, if anything, if Tottenham were to get in a position to challenge for the league, arguably the biggest concern would actually be scoring goals. So I think that, as a 1v1 game chain dribbler, is going to open space for Maddison's son. That's the game-changing next move for Tottenham, I think.
Question number 2.
A Martinelli-type player, to be honest.
No.
He's okay. I'm just saying. I wanted to give you a moment.
Someone better than that.
Question number 2.
Have you got the mic?
Yeah. Go on, Ricky. Question number 2.
Right. Question number 2, more for this FPL community. It's been a horrifically low-scoring week.
Yeah.
Many people have...
Son's just got actually against Chelsea. What's wrong with you?
So I was forgetting about that one. But for the majority of people, it's been a really low-scoring week. I know your answers, both of you, because I've spoken to you about it before. But what are kind of like the best things that people can do if they're struggling with their game week and they're struggling with their mental health because of it? What are the best coping strategies for people on a game week like this where everyone has suffered?
Brutal.
Okay, it's a good one. Although I also love the fact you said, I know your answers, but then you asked the question anyway.
I've changed my... since we last spoke, Ricky,
are you sober enough to answer this?
Ricky, since we last spoke, I've started taking up yoga, meditation, health retreats. Yeah, I'm more than sober enough to answer it. Are you?
I think, to be honest, this week's fine, really, for most people, because everyone's done shit. So we're all in the same shit boat. It's the ones like, the Salah Hall at Old Trafford and the Kai Havertz week, those sort of ones where you're like, oh my God, I'm on the wrong side of the decision. And you still look at it, well, I think I made the right decision, and variance happens or whatever. With this week, everyone's missed, basically. So everybody's had a difficult week. And there will be... we're laughing at me sitting on, at the time recording, 29 and a green arrow, and we know there's 14s minus 4s knocking about and stuff like that. I think if you can, and not everyone can, don't take yourself too seriously. There are more important things in the world than FPL. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that. I get that for certain people, but there has to be. Even if that's your own mental health, it has to be something more important than the result of a fantasy football team at the end of the week. I think the biggest one for me is if you're at peace with your decisions prior to the week starts, then the outcome will be the outcome. And you're not sucked into the problem afterwards of I've got the bad beat because Salah got a hat-trick and Havertz blanked as the example. If you can look at it, be happy with this. I know not everybody can do that, but if you just accept that the outcome, you have no impact. None of us control how many goals Mo Salah scores against Luton or Erling Haaland scores against Bournemouth. And the quicker you can accept that and know you've made a decision based on projections or predictions or models or whatever you use, then I think dealing with the consequences does become easier. And I know that for many people that's easier said than done. If you generally are struggling, I say what I always say, my DMs are open not for people to send me screenshots of their FPL teams. It's if people generally want to come to say, I've had a bad beat, and not be embarrassed about it. It is okay to think, shit, I had a bad week and that's impacting me. And even ask questions, I shouldn't be bothered. But some people are. And then generally, that's it. Slide in my DMs or other people's you knows and be honest about it. Because if it's impacting you that much, it's important enough that it is bothering you. So talk about it.
I'm interested in the number of decisions you make in a week in FPL is like 3 or 4 decisions. Maybe you got to make a decision on who to captain. Who did you captain this week, Ricky?
I think
Haaland. You went Salah, yeah?
Where's Tom? Is that 61 decisions a season or something, they say? Tom's not looking at me.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Tom Cantwell, from who got the assist, is going to know the answer.
You're picking your
decisions or something.
You're picking your transfer, and then you're picking who to bench and who not to bench, right? If you could see all of the scores from the week before you had to make those choices, but you couldn't see who scored the goals and who got the assists. You couldn't see those two things, but you could just see the scores. If you saw 6-1 City this week, you'd captain Haaland, right? And you'd probably buy another City attacker. But I like to kind of look at it as, what James said with the decision-making process. A lot of people use football and FPL as an escape from life, and it's their kind of safe place or where they go to get escapism when other stuff is shit and that kind of thing. But then, by the same token, you're asking the question when it affects your mood and is negative, right? The one thing I always think about with West Ham, because they can affect my mood all the time, is like, it's not my, I don't own the club. It's not my result, right? So I'm not the owner of the football club. I'm not the one that putting money in. I'm not the one making any money when they make it in profit or spending any money when they buy shit players. I'm not on the pitch. I'm not the manager making the decisions. Like, what control, other than that, you say it all the time, you're a client reference number, not a fan. Like, we don't get treated like supporters anymore. We get treated like cash machines. So why should I get upset about them when they don't really care about me? Like, it's not my club. It just happens to be that I chose
but then them. I can't find that easy.
What? To not get upset.
Get impacted by what Tottenham do, right? So.
Yeah, but you've got no control over that.
No, I know.
That's your dad's fault for making you support them. Do you know what I mean?
Dad's...
I can understand it. You got someone else to blame. I chose West Ham out of stupidity.
You fucked my life. Yeah. He's just stupid.
The other...
Thank you, Dad. I love you.
The other thing is, like, and you'd said it, like, there's got to be other things in life. Like, there's got to be. And if you're in a situation where it affects you really badly and you haven't, then it's not about FPL affecting you. It's not having enough other stuff in your life that drives happiness that you can go to, whether it might be family or other hobbies or other interests or whatever else. It can only make up a certain percentage of your total hours that you've got a day. And if it's affecting you too much, it's taking up too much of your time, you've got to either add other stuff in or not care about it as much.
But I would add to that certainly the patrons in the room notice about my son and stuff, right? So in a way, he's kind of socially awkward at the moment. He's just about to turn 5, right? So what if you're an adult and you know being socially awkward and finding other things to do is difficult, and that is your thing, because it's difficult to make friendships and stuff like that.
But then do you get super happy? Say this is a hypothetical question about this person that you're describing. Do they get super happy when they do well in FPL? Is that like a highlight of the week?
I can't answer the question for them.
But
I always think as well...
You can't have the highs without the lows, right? I could not have that high of winning the Conference League and that be as high as it is without a low of losing Burnley on a snowy night in the middle of a week.
But generally speaking, like if, say, Tottenham did win the league, right? Generally, probably not, sweetheart. But be humble about it. No, I would try for a couple of days, but then afterwards, it's like, you obviously celebrate, of course you do. But try and be humble about it, because, like that, it will turn to shit again.
Yeah.
So, and to relate that to FPL... You
need lows and highs. Without highs, you can't have lows.
Enjoy the highs, understand the lows, but find a medium I always use my dad. Sorry, Dad. Hi, Dad. I use him the reference, right? When we do it, at the moment, he thinks we're the best team in the world, right? When we start losing games, we're shit. We're terrible, right? There's no coming back. So, yeah, if you can find an in-between where you don't get impacted by the swings so bad, like if you can, so, you know, just use your Arsenal reference, right? You know why the game went against you, right? In your opinion, you think it's basically down to a refereeing decision. Good answer. Yeah. So the answer, for the benefit of those on the audio or couldn't hear that, was, yeah, okay, down to a refereeing decision, but also Arsenal could do better offensively.
Correct.
It's good.
Right, next question. Just move it on. Go on.
Hello chaps. David, FPL_Gills. What do England and Gareth Southgate need to do to win Euro 2024?
Play Harry Maguire at centre-back. Play Harry Maguire at centre-back.
Keep Jude fit. Keep Harry fit. I generally think we've got a great chance. Those who know me longest, I've never tipped England to win a tournament, and I do generally think we could win that one. I think there are only two teams that I would be worried about at the moment. One is France, because of the natural talent they have, and the other is Nico's team, is Portugal. I think are very good. Yeah. But to be honest, I wouldn't be that worried about too many other teams. We've also got a historical bad record against both those teams as well, certainly in terms of competitive games. But if they stay fit, then we've got a real chance. There would be things that would change that. I think the biggest one for England actually isn't the attacking play, it's John Stones. Is the biggest one, because that's so far and away our best centre-back. You know, Kyle Walker, great defensively. You'd want him in their 1v1 duels like Mbappe and whomever might play out there for Portugal, etc. But you do have James, Trippier, Trent. You've got solutions. John Stones is the one I think would be very difficult to replicate. I think there's a number of good centre-backs on the fringes. The best thing we can do right now is accept that Maguire will play. And to be honest, if he plays like he played for Manchester United on Saturday, we shouldn't have too much of a problem with that. Left back's an issue, but at the moment, Trippier will play that as it stands. Central midfield, Declan Rice would probably be the next worst player for us to lose, because again, replicating that's difficult. Calvin Phillips is, in my opinion, the best partner for Declan Rice. I know most people don't agree with that, but I think in terms of getting the best out of Declan, who's a world-class player, we have to consider that, and I think Phillips enables that. Then, to be honest, offensively, there are so many good players. It's ridiculous. We're talking about a player like Bowen, who we're talking about saying 80 million.
The team. You're not going to play Bowen over Saka.
He might not even be in the squad, mate.
But Bellingham, Saka, Foden, Rashford, Grealish, Kane.
Absurd talent up front. Tons. And, I mean, if Bellingham and Kane have a good tournament and we defend sensibly, we could win it.
What's your thoughts on goalkeeper? You think Pickford?
Yes,
because I think
definitely.
Nick Pope deserves a bit of a chance, surely, at this point.
The problem with Nick Pope probably won't be in the squad, so...
You don't think so?
No, because he's not good enough for his feet, and Sam Johnson of Palace is going to find himself the same problem. Whereas Ramsdale is very good with his feet, but I think Jordan Pickford has always done well for England. I think international football suits him much better because you don't have to deal with the aerial stuff. Even look at the goal Everton conceded on Saturday. It's not the sort of goal you see in international football, someone hitting the byline and getting the cross in, or set pieces being thrown on top of him. I think that's a problem. Everton, despite the fact they've got good aerial players, actually have a bit of a set piece problem, I've noticed recently. So he doesn't have to deal with those things for international football. And actually someone like Maguire, who's really dominant, does help Pickford, I think. So yeah, still Pickford for me for England.
Oh, hang on.
Am I still there? Do you think Southgate will learn from previous tournaments with substitutions making them too late?
I can't answer for that one.
Yeah, I've got no faith in that. Maybe.
It's difficult. When you've got... Guardiola would probably answer this best. When you've got a tactical setup, which at that level is going to be top level of detail, that's why Pep doesn't like making subs sometimes, right? He's like, well, I've given all this detail. Someone else has got to replicate that in the same way, and there's a reason why he wasn't chosen in the first place. And we should arguably set that more. Certainly in international tournaments, your depth of squad and what you need, you are going to need it. You're not going to win a major tournament with 11 players. There's going to be at least 15, 16 players going to be important to you. So yes, I think there would be an acknowledgement of using substitutes earlier and better and being more decisive, but we can also be very hindsight about that. when we beat Senegal 3-0, no one said nothing, for example. But we lose to France, so I should have made the subs earlier. So that will come with a narrative a bit. But yes, there probably is something he could definitely improve his substitutions, particularly as we've got so many good variables, right? If you're playing a Grealish and he's struggling for whatever reason, we'll stick Foden on there or whatever the alternatives, get it done, yeah.
Good. Right.
Oh,
go on.
Wait, it's got a mic.
No, I was about to say. We get
Okay.
the last question of the show.
So my
Make it a good
question-
one. The pressure's on
Mo's
now.
going to bloody cry.
Oh, there's Mo one question?
Yeah.
Go on. We'll do 2 questions to go. Go on, Rory.
All right. So my question
Oh, is
is
it 3?
for your teams, West Ham and Spurs.
Yeah.
Also, supplementary after that for your individual FPL teams, based on your strategy, the way you approach the game. What is your ceiling and what is your floor? So, what is West Ham's ceiling and floor?
In the league?
In the Premier League, what is your ceiling that you could possibly hope to
7th.
achieve? And what's your floor? And the same as
20th.
Spurs, ceiling and floor?
No,
And
I
then-
think 14th to 7th, I would say, for West Ham.
The absolute ceiling of Tottenham this year is to win the league.
1, yeah. I think so. First.
From where you are now, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, no. Listen, let's be very clear. I'm not even convinced Tottenham will finish top 4. Still, I think certainly in Newcastle there's a very formidable opponent.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But in terms of we couldn't because of the position it's put himself in. We couldn't say they can't because people would have laughed at Arsenal in the same way to start of last year. And you proved yourself good enough. That's not to say my team will do the same. I don't agree with that. But at the moment we're in a great position. How low could we finish? I'd find it very difficult at the moment to foresee that we would finish below Chelsea or Manchester United as it stands, so I would say 7th.
Yeah, so I can't see you finishing outside of Europe. But in terms of your personal teams, if you look at the way your fantasy football team works and your approach to the game, how low do you think you could finish an overall rank? How high do you think you could
I was in
finish?
FPL.
Yes.
I wouldn't finish,
him about
I wouldn't
8
finish
million.
out at the top million. Between 1 million and 100,000, I would say.
You think you can't finish top 100k? Of course you can.
Maybe
It's too long to go.
50k. 50k. 100 million and 50k, I think.
I wouldn't want to put a ceiling on that. Where do I start? Do I cut off at 2k, 5k, 10k? It's quite tough. My position's okay at the time of recording of sort of like 730-ish. But I've had a consistent greens, but I've been like 50k, 50k, 50k. If I keep doing that, I'll end pretty well. I would be surprised if I finished outside the top 500k. I would also probably be surprised if I finished inside the top 50k. But I think it could both be better than that and worse than that. I mean, imagine Salah scored 5 against Luton. Like, I'm in so much trouble, right? So it can be one decision like that hurts. Go back to your point earlier on Haaland and Salah and knowing the results. If you knew Liverpool had drawn 1-1 at Luton and knew that City had beat Bournemouth 6-1, every Salah owner who didn't own Haaland would have taken the -4 to get Haaland in.
That's probably true. Go on then. You got the mic? You ready? Let's go. Introduce yourself. Give us your handle. Give us your handle.
Oh, yeah. Constant moaning about VAR, referee decisions, whatever. You lot are in the Premier League. I support a championship team,
Okay.
and we don't have to listen to all this shit. Why is it constant moaning about decisions, about VAR? Come and join the championship and then see how it feels.
Well,
So
go on. Just
stop
clarify.
fucking
So you don't
moaning.
moan about. What do people in the championship moan about though? Because there's got to be moaning about something.
She's Millwall. No one likes them and she
that's
doesn't
true.
care, mate.
If they want us to stop moaning, they just got to start getting decisions right, surely. Just moaning because it's wrong all the bloody time.
Many of you will know my opinion. I would sack it, right? But there's also no point doing that because they're not going to do it. So they have to get used to it. But we're tired of it. We're tired of talking about it. And yet the headline from this weekend is the decision of what happened in the Newcastle Arsenal game. And that's what but it's obviously getting clicks. There's enough people who do want to talk about it, listen to it, whatever, that it is getting enough interest. And I think we all, when it's emotional, so it affects our teams, people obviously, you can put the blame on the referee. It was called right there, right? Arsenal actually didn't play great yesterday. then that's part of the problem. But it is easy then to Arteta deflects that. Let's just talk about the referee. No. I'm absolutely certain. I absolutely.
You should be proud that you're in the Premier League. We can't get in that.
I'm absolutely certain that decisions, the further down the pyramid you go to Championship, so if you had a conversation with a League Two fan, they'll tell you that's even worse than the Championship, and that's unfortunately it's natural, right? You've got better players at the top level, so as much as we criticise referees, top referees are in the Premier League, etc. I don't think that the refereeing actually is as bad as everybody thinks. I think the application is terrible.
Right, next question.
And that's part of the problem.
Should we get referees from abroad then?
I think the Premier League should very, very seriously consider using Premier Leagues from abroad. However, you support a team that regularly plays in Europe. Suj does too, and hopefully mine will do again soon as well. I would give me a Premier League referee over than the referees I get in Europe all day, every day. Every time. Every time.
Oof. Go on,
I would take a Premier League referee.
Tell us.
Am I what? Sorry? Am I the most acceptable person for giving advice on refereeing? No, I'm just a football fan.
Go on. Next question.
Hello, Nick, Fulham fan here. Given
Fulham.
our struggles so far up front, 2 questions. First of all, do you think there's any particular worry for us staying up? And second of all, are there any particular individuals that could potentially come to Fulham to fix our problems?
Fulham will be absolutely fine as long as Paulinho stays fit.
And there's enough goals in it. Like there's with Wilson and Willian. There's goals in there, isn't there?
I can give you a short-term solution that I think would help you, and it would help Suj as well. Danny Ings.
I thought you were going to try and get rid of Antonio for me, mate.
Oh no, I wouldn't go that far.
Oh please! I thought you were trying to do me a favour, not Fulham a favour.
The way they play and stuff, the wide players like to carry, etc. Yeah. Pereira's a good chance creator.
He seems to always play better when he's got a partner up top with him, Danny Ings. I don't know if I see him as a lone striker.
But maybe if you could get Pereira close to him.
Yeah, or Muniz or something like that.
Do you think Danny Ings would be better than what you've got?
I mean, anything's better than what we've got.
Well, there you go.
Cool.
So they should arguably be in trouble. He in midfield, he's a mistake for goal on Saturday. He's outstanding. Outstanding. No, I like Che Adams.
Running behind.
I think it's good channels, works hard, links play well, but you need a scorer.
He's not a goal scorer, is he?
He's
not a goal scorer. Right, we made it. Mo, we made it to the last question of the show. There we go. You're on. Go on, Mo, tell us. Are you on Twitter? Boss, are you on Twitter?
Yeah, you'll find me on Trophy FPL. You know I've got a YouTube channel as well. Check that out. Anyway, relax. I've got a serious question actually. So the Ballon d'Or's just gone.
Yeah.
And we saw that Messi won it and Haaland came second. And my question is, do we think there's too much waiting on the World Cup? And the reason I say, I know it's a prestigious tournament, but the reason I ask you to this, if you're basically, only if you're on 5 countries, you can win the World Cup. Haaland's not winning the World Cup. So if that's what they're relying on him to win that trophy, he's doomed. If you're born in Congo or I can tell you now the next World Cup winner is going to be France or say Argentina or Brazil. Or England, there we go. But the point I'm getting at, should we reduce the waiting? At least if you're born from them countries, you can move club to club and end up at Real Madrid or Barcelona or Liverpool and win the Champions League.
Can I take this one?
Who won the Ballon d'Or the last World Cup, not this one?
So I was going to ask a question back to Mo and say which Spanish player won it in 2010?
They didn't.
I know. Which German player won it in 2014?
The thing I think with this season that makes it different is for Messi, it completed the set, didn't it? No. So maybe there's a lot of waiting on it. Maybe Haaland's had a better season. But the achievement of the World Cup for Messi completed the full set for him.
Did Modric won it 2018?
Yeah. I think he did, yeah.
So actually, Messi's the only person to win the Ballon d'Or who's won the World Cup since...
Ronaldo and Messi existed.
Well,
in
it wouldn't
professional
have been a
football.
French player in 06 either, would it?
But the point
Yeah.
I'm getting at, do we put too much weighting on it, considering you can't win? You're not winning the World Cup. You're not winning it, are you? Unless you're from
No,
5 countries.
Yeah, I
in
think that's
seriousness,
fair, but-
was Erling Haaland, or maybe even arguably Rodri, maybe the best player across club competition over the last 12 months? Yes. I think in Messi's case, the story for most of us who, you know, England and Argentina have a big rivalry. Most of us wanted Argentina to win that final. For him to win that was the crowning glory of his football story. I think it's understandable that he got the award when, as good as Haaland has been and his goal-scoring numbers have been, he'll do that again. And the opportunity will come to him. It just felt like one for me, and I think, to be honest, the award has become a popularity contest a little bit.
The whole event has
I also
changed. There's
think
awards for everything
I also
now.
don't feel bothered enough to think that and to know that it's definitely the last time he's winning it, and he for him and his career completed the one thing that people always said, well, you can never be the best player in the world because of that. And we can't say he didn't have a great World Cup. And actually, in 14, he wasn't great. 18, he wasn't great. He was Argentina's best player at the World Cup, and they've won it.
Yeah.
So maybe yes, in terms of the weighting. Do I have a problem with the fact that he won it? Not really.
Do you know this Best Striker Award? That was only created a few years ago.
Oh my God!
Hang on,
Why didn't I criticise Emi Martinez, the world-class Emi Martinez, on the main podcast? Villa fans, come for me.
That Best Striker Award was only created a few years ago, right? Wasn't it created for Lewandowski because he was never going to win Ballon d'Or?
Is that right? Maybe.
Because it's a very new award. So now Haaland's getting it. They're like, don't worry, you didn't get Ballon d'Or because we got this Best Striker Award. And now they got the Best Young Player Award. The whole thing's all about the money, right? They just want to get more sponsors for more awards and make it more of an event. But I agree with James. It's a popularity contest. And I wouldn't put too much weight on it. But yeah.
Do you think Haaland should have won it?
Yes.
Okay. If Haaland repeats what he did last year,
he's not.
He'll win it.
But he won't repeat that. It's a freak
Why not?
year. I don't think he can.
Might not get the treble. Get that. And he might not need to, right? If he wins the Champions League and scores enough goals, that might be enough.
Yeah, agreed. There we go. Like, guys, now we're going to wrap up with the Q&A. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll do an outro as we go. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the Thirsty Bear. The pub is still open for another 2 hours. So,
one more thing, because I forgot to plug it on the main pod, but our friends Brandon and Josh from...
Oh, yes. Always cheating
are over on Friday. And what's the
date
name of
is
the place
9th.
they meet? It's near London Bridge. Bellagio's,
Tom.
is it?
Yeah, Bellagio's. Where's the Always
Bellagio's.
Cheating meet? Always Cheating meet.
Belushi's, sorry.
Belushi's, right?
Belushi's.
In London Bridge.
Great
Belushi's London
lads.
Bridge. Look at a link in the bio, because we're butchering this, James.
Yeah, no, great lads who are over from America. I can't go because it's Harry's 5th birthday. Happy birthday to my boy, and I'm going to Wolves Saturday, so out, but enjoy it if you're going.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe. Chat for now.
Thanks, everyone. Cue music, please, man. Shout. I mean, that's really silly because it's going out on Tuesday. So if they've lost...
Bring your shot. Bring your shot. Go for it.
Also, you're an Arsenal fan, you're shouting that.